Hey everybody, JarredGarneau here. Today's lesson is going to be on the jazz standard Freddie Freeloader. So Freddie Freeloader is just a typical blues, but it has a twist at the end, which does present a little bit of a challenge. It's also a challenge if you're more familiar with the that style of blues where there's a lot of bends involved, like the B.B. King style of blues. It's a challenge if you're not really familiar with the way this jazz blues style is played. It's much more based on arpeggios and chord tones and that sort of thing, where what I just played has more to do with the melody line and just learn to mix your major and minor pentatonics. In a nutshell anyways, there's obviously more to it than that. I'm simplifying it, but get the point. So before you play the tune, you want to get familiar with it. So, listen to it 10 times in a row, if not more, just get really familiar with the tune to the point that even before playing it, you know how many measures are in the chorus, what the melody is, can you hum the melody, that sort of thing. If you can't hum the melody and get the pitches correctly, do you know the rhythm of the melody, that sort of thing. Really getting to know the tune from a listening perspective is going to serve you and just help you memorize it. It's definitely the longer way to learn a tune than just reading it off a lead sheet, but you want to memorize this stuff. You want it to be a part of you as you're learning it. So anyways, here's the melody. I'm going to sing it just to show you that I do this sort of thing. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba da, ba da, ba da. I know I'm not on pitch. Ba da, but I promise I am in my head. Ba 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 da ba da ba da ba da ba 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 da. All right, so not the most comfortable part of my day. There's definitely a certain level of vulnerability to doing that. Especially if you are just an instrumentalist, you might not have ever thought of singing a line before, but it really does work. It's like when you're studying, the more senses you can involve, the better. It's like if you're reading notes, you're better off reading them out loud, just because saying it out loud, studies have shown that you retain the information better. So just doing that can just really help you memorize stuff, and more importantly, just it becomes a part of you. There's something I've heard before, you're singing through your instrument, and the fact that you can sing a line is a great sign that you know the tune. And I know I wasn't on pitch with a lot of that, but I am in here, and that's really the most important thing. And my rhythms were on with the melody as well. So that's the other thing. You could just literally just go for the first 4. I'm just gonna do I don't know, the first half of the tune. Ba ba ta 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 ta. Just doing the rhythms in place of the melody note. So just at least so you know where they're placed anyways, because you should be able to know these tunes just from the melody and rhythm perspective. Anyways, let's go over the harmony. So the harmony is just a 12-bar blues in B flat, and I'm just going to use this shape right here. My volume definitely wasn't on for the melody portion, but you probably heard it anyways. But here is the chords. So I'm just using a B flat 7 or B flat dominant chord. this case. So what I'm doing is I'm playing my middle finger at the 6th string on the 6th fret, muting that 5th string, playing the 4th fret on the 4th string with my index, ring is on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, pinky is on the 6th fret of the 2nd string, muting the 1st string. You can also just do it bar. If that's something you want to do. If you do more string across here, you can get a more full chord sound. And for those of you that are new to the channel, I am an ONE, by the way. So we have 4 measures of B flat. So maybe just do like half notes. So 1, 2, we have 2 measures of E flat 7, so you can just take the same chord and just bump it up to the 11th fret. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. B flat 7 for 2 measures. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have F7 for 2 measures, or 1 measure, sorry. And I'm just using this shape right here. Or actually, let's just use the same shape up here. So just bumping that up. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here's the twist. We're ending on A flat 7 for the last 2 measures. So measures 11, 12 would be just this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So and during the melody, and you play the head twice, and on the second time around, instead of ending on that A flat 7, you just end on that B flat 7 again. But over the soloing, what you need to be concerned with is that A flat 7, because that's the actual form we're soloing over. So during the solos, you always end on A flat to resolve it. And it's just a little twist. So let's just go over that same thing, but with Roman numerals. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 1 chord. To 4. To 1. To 5. 4. Flat 7. What that flat 7 is you're basically doing a tritone sub of D7 in that case. So instead of D7, which is also a 5 of 6. So let me just go over that again. So it's kind of like a almost double reharmonization, or you could maybe look at it that way. So if you look at like B flat like major, its 6th chord would be a G minor 7. So that would be the natural 6th chord from B flat major. What we're doing is we're going to a D7 instead, which is the 5 chord of that G minor 7. That's a common trick, is throwing in these substitute 5 chords. So the D7 is replacing that G7, so we get this sort of sound. I'm just going to do it from the 5 chord for the turnaround so you can hear. First I'm going to do it with the 6th chord, then I'm going to do it with that D7 chord, and then I'll finally do it with the A flat 7. So here's what it sounds like from the turnaround with that G7 sound. So here's what it sounds like with that 5 of 6 chord. So can you hear where it's going a little bit more, where it has to do with the original? Now, how we get to that A flat 7 is we're just doing a sub 5 of that already substitute 5 chord. So if you take like a D7 and you just make it like a 3-note shape right here, like 6th fret, let's eliminate the 2nd and 1st string in this case. So we're just taking that same shape we used originally, just bumping up to the 10th fret. So if you take a shape right here and you just put your middle finger on the 9th fret of the 5th string, you get an A flat dominant chord. So the reason why this works is because you share these chord tones. So let's just see how that flips. So we have a D7, so that'd be root, flat 7, 3rd, and then we go from here to that. So, and also the intervals flip. So we have what was before our flat 7 of the D7 is now our 3rd of the A flat 7, and what was our 3rd of the D7 before is now the flat 7 of A flat. So it flips. And this is what it sounds like when you put it all together. So starting from the 5 chord again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So very cool. So as far as like soloing over that, I'm just gonna go over the arpeggios and position. So using the the tuning of the guitar, we're just gonna center everything around B flat at the 6th fret. So here we're just gonna go 6th fret, 10th, and then 6, 6, 6, 6, then 6th fret on the 1st string, and then 10. So we get this shape. So you can do that over the 1 chord, and then over the 4 chord, we can do this little guy right here. So just going 6th fret on the 6th string, 4th fret on the 5th string, 8th fret on the 5th string, 6 on the 4, 7 on the 3, 8 on the 2, 6 on the 1. 5 chord would just be the same thing, but bumped up 2 frets. And then for our A flat 7, we can just do the same thing we did over the 1 chord, but just bump it down 2 frets. So just going over the form with that, I'm just going to use arpeggios. Let me count this off. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so, kind of a more bland way to solo for sure, but it outlines the harmony and you're not hitting any bad notes, which is a great place to start. And, at this point, you're still just kind of learning the tune. Just because you've learned the melody and the harmony for it doesn't mean you've learned the improvisation part right off the bat. That's kind of like its own separate shelf that you gotta work with. But, you gotta know the form first and the melody. So anyways, that's the standard, guys. And yeah, there's definitely way more ways you can practice soloing over it, but that's a pretty good place to start and a pretty safe place to start, especially, if you're like in a situation where you don't know the tune very well. Just sticking with those chord tones is a great place to start. Anyways, guys, that's it for the lesson today. I like to keep these lessons on the shorter side, like 10 to 15 minutes, but do them on a weekly basis. If you guys are interested in more, please email me at JarredGarneau@gmail.com. Particularly if you're looking for lessons, I am open for new students for the fall time. And yeah, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week.